Welcome back. The National Energy Regulator of South Africa has been alerted to the imminent spike in gas prices. The regulator saying it's embarking on a process to protect the gas industry here in South Africa. A Nersa member responsible for piped gas regulation, Nomfundo Maseti, joining us to talk about this. Nomfundo, good morning to you. Good to have you with us. The price of gas staggeringly high at the moment. Why is it so bad? Good morning.
Good morning, Gareth, and good morning to the viewers. Yes, the price of gas has not, or the increase that was communicated to the industry has not yet been implemented as far as we understand it. However, they have received correspondence, and it shocked us because we did not expect such an increase. It is because any increase of that magnitude is an increase that should first be approved by the energy regulator, and that is not the case with this one that we are talking about.
Yeah, let's talk about the number exactly. I'm seeing reports from earlier in the year, Nomfundo, from Engineering News, saying that a July hike approaching around 300%, all to do with international issues around Russia and Ukraine. Are we expecting this 300% increase in gas prices?
And it goes back to the earlier response to say that it shouldn't happen. We understand that the surge in gas prices internationally, but they have nothing to do with us because the gas that we are regulating, it comes from Mozambique. So the supply of this gas is not exposed to any international costs or the factors that are affecting the global demand and supply. So the reason why they will argue that they want to increase to that extent, it is because when we approved multi-year prices, which is what we did in this case, the market conditions were very different, and including the market data that we had at the time. So if it didn't materialize, it is important that all of us will go to the drawing board because there is no set of information. And the only thing that they will do to increase that price is simply because of the adjustment factor. Otherwise, the price that we approved last year was 68 rands, 39 cents. You cannot expect the price to now go up to 273 rands. That tells you that it is not rational. It yields irrational outcomes, and therefore, we all need to go back to the drawing board.
What does that drawing board look like? Speak to me about this interim methodology that Nersa is adopting to help consumers manage the increasing costs of gas prices. What does that methodology look like?
The methodology that we have approved for purposes of public consultation, it is not yet approved as a final methodology. It's a methodology that requires the regulator to consider costs, such that if then you have a cost, you have to at least be comfortable with the difference between cost and the price, so that that difference between cost and price is not excessive and unreasonable. So that methodology seeks to do that. And even with the current one, it takes into account cost. Hence, we were comfortable to approve 68 rands, not anything that is above 100 rands or that gets to 200 rands. So that is why I'm saying that if the price then that is proposed gets to that extent, it has to come to the energy regulator for a decision.
Just to help those who aren't necessarily involved, including me, Nomfundo, in this, how bad could the price of gas get? It sounds like Nersa is trying to cushion the consumers against any exponential jumps in gas prices. But what's the worst case scenario here? What should we be preparing ourselves for?
I will not even, talk about the worst case scenario because we are forced to consider cost. And that comes from the Constitutional Court judgment that was issued in July 2019, specifically on gas prices, to say that the energy regulator must consider cost, especially if you are facing a monopoly supplier. And we have to take that guidance. And hence I'm saying that to try and refine our methodology to make sure that it does exactly that. So there is no way that we can approve any cost increase that gets to the magnitudes of your 50% or your 90%, that is off the table. It is not something that we will approve as the regulator.
Well, that's good news, at least for consumers as well, isn't it? I also understand, Nomfundo, as I start saying goodbye to you this morning, that Nersa are proposing the use of a 5-year averaging period rather than 12 months as well. I imagine that's to just to stave off any potential shock for consumers as well. You're looking a lot further down the road as Nersa, aren't you?
Yes, we're looking at all of the options, but we also need to be very careful because you don't want to adjust with historical prices when the market has changed and maybe the conditions of the market changed and perhaps the competition state has improved to the benefit of consumers, and then you look back in history and therefore you inherit something that does not reflect the current situation.
Well, it sounds like Nersa is at least holding steady on the price of gas for the moment, which is very good news for all consumers in South Africa. Nomfundo, I appreciate your time. Nomfundo Maseti from Nersa joining us this morning.